Call to the order, the Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 1. Roll call.
Chair Wilson,
Yes?
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Present.
Board Member Biggs,
He's here.
He's not here.
Board Member Evans,
Yes.
Board Member Gremmel,
Here.
Board Member Nesser,
Present.
Board Member Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Which one are
Okay.
we on this?
Presentation and discussion of resolution number 2021. CVC, let me start over again. SVCFD number 1. Joel?
Mr. Mayor, or Mr. Chair, I apologize, and members of the board, we got to come up with something that's, sounds better than that. Like we have WUCFUD and SMUCFUD. We've got to have something, SVUCFUD or something, because it's going to be a long haul, 60 years,
Those
so.
don't sound very nice.
No.
Wow.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you very much, and thank you for having this item. Tonight, we do have a representative in the audience from Brookfield, so I want to acknowledge Eric. And Brookfield is very interested in getting forward on this, and they want to see, they're very interested in this project, of course. So what you have is the first CFD district, and it's basically a repayment mechanism. We do have outside counsel. Zach Zakis is here, and he's going to talk about the resolution. There's also another resolution in the next item, or the next CFD. They're separate entities. So this is the inaugural on the CFD number 1 for Superstition Vistas. So I'm going to ask Zach to come up right now and talk about the resolution, what you will be voting on tonight in that resolution.
Thank you, Joel. Chairman, Honorable Board, my name is Zach Zakis. I'm an attorney with Sherman & Howard. Congratulations, we're here. Made it to the first CFD meeting for Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 1. As you'll recall, when we last met, you had different hats on sitting as mayor and city council, and you approved formation of 2 community facilities districts. So this is the first meeting for Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 1. So right now, you're only meeting in that capacity for the first district. And then, as Joel mentioned, we'll have a second meeting where you'll convene as the board for Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 2. So tonight, the resolution accomplishes several things which are necessary and appropriate in connection with what does the CFD do as its initial actions to become more operational. So the first thing that we're going to do is appoint officers of the district. The city manager will serve as district manager. The city attorney will serve as district counsel. The city clerk will serve as district clerk. The city finance director will serve as the district treasurer. So first job is to appoint those roles so that members of the staff can function as district staff as well. Second thing that we'll do, you'll recall in its application for formation, D.R. Horton requested that, or anticipated that the CFD number 1 would like to be able to have the authority to issue $400 million of general obligation bonds. In addition, for the CFD to have the authority to levy an operation and maintenance ad valorem property tax to pay for district expenses. So both of those items per statute require an election. One election to authorize the general obligation bonds, and one election to authorize the property tax to pay operation and maintenance expenses. So as part of your resolution, you will authorize and call those 2 elections. Those elections are landowner elections, and we know that D.R. Horton, through its certificate of purchase with Arizona State Land, we have 1 voter for both elections. We will confirm, as we did prior to formation, on behalf of the district with the county recorder that nobody has moved out onto the vacant land and established themselves as a registered elector, just because belt and suspenders is always nice. In addition to approving both elections, the date for those elections is February 2nd. because that gives sufficient time to post notice, publish notice. We're already working on translating sample ballot language, which is attached to the resolution for your review. And then in addition, you're also approving 2 agreements. The first is the district development, financing participation, and intergovernmental agreement, waiver and intergovernmental agreement. There are 3 parties to that agreement. D.R. Horton as the developer, the city of Apache Junction as the municipality which formed the CFD, and Superstition Community Facilities District Number 1. You've already, this one's for D.R. Horton. Yep, this is number 1. Thank you. City Council already approved this agreement at the time of formation of this district, but because the CFD is also a party to it, you now consider it and consider approval of the agreement in your capacity as board of the CFD. The last agreement is an intergovernmental agreement between Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 1, District Number 2, WUCFUD, and SMUCFUD. That is because some of the infrastructure that will be constructed along the way will be utility infrastructure that will be owned eventually by either the water district or the sewer district. And so there's the agreement among the 4 community facilities districts where, for example, if there's engineering expertise housed at the water utility district, they will cooperate and work collaboratively to ensure that the projects are built to the specifications for all the districts and for the eventual operation of the public infrastructure. With that, I'm open to any questions. It is a lot, but there's a lot to get started on. And this is usually the typical approach for the first meeting of any CFD. These are the sort of routine items that we're required to take care of to get things moving.
This is really boring stuff.
Actually, I think just the contrary. I think it's actually very fascinating. And so what you're telling us is that we will have one entity that is voting. Did I understand that? And so we have to go through the exact same election process that we would if we had 50,000 voters. Am I understanding that correctly?
Not exactly the same. The landowner election provisions are a little
Okay.
different, but
I think that's
but we
fascinating. I
still
think
go
it's very
through
interesting
the
and
process of posting an election, yes.
interesting that we're at this point. Thank you for answering that.
Thank you for the compliment. If I've done my job, it's boring.
Hey, Zach, can you, Mr. Chair, may
Yes.
I? Zach, can you also explain the GO bond process and the O&M bonds
Perfect.
and how much we're talking?
So, again, D.R. Horton for Community Facilities District 1 requested authorization of $400 million. That is what the election question would be presented to voters. What you are not authorizing tonight is the issuance of any specific bonds. All that we are doing is calling the election. Anytime the district is asked to issue bonds in the future, you will have the opportunity to review a feasibility report, receive feedback from district staff, and make a determination in your sole and absolute discretion as the district board on whether those bonds are appropriate to finance the type of public infrastructure that is being requested. So in no way does calling the election bind this board or obligate this board to issue bonds in the future. All that this resolution does is propose the question to the voters. So that's for the general obligation bonding authority. For the O&M property tax, per statute, we are capped at 30 cents per $100 of net assessed limited property value at the outset of the district, and that's including upon agreement with D.R. Horton in its application. That is both contained in the district development agreement that I discussed previously, but that also, again, approving that secondary property tax requires an election. So once the landowner, if they choose to approve that, tax will be applied and levied on land within the CFD, and then that does not go towards paying back financed infrastructure. That goes towards district operations, including any sort of operational expenses, insurance expenses, other things that the CFD may incur simply for its existence, because otherwise there'd be no source of funding potentially to operate the community facilities district. And again, the goal with being development pays for itself.
Okay,
Pretty neat.
yes.
I said it's pretty neat
Oh, okay.
that we're going through this.
All right, anyone else got questions or anything?
I have a question for Jennifer. So part of the motion, do we have to have the date that the election be held, but do we have to say that by February 2nd, or it doesn't matter?
It's all in the resolution. So if the
Okay.
motion to approve the resolution will
Okay.
appoint officers, approve the forms of the agreement, and call both elections.
Okay. Just checking on creativity.
So we just need a motion to approve the resolution, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Chair
Yes.
Wilson, I move that resolution number 2021-001, SVCFD number 1, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District 1, appointing the district officers, approving the general plan, taking certain actions with regard to organizations of the district, ordering and calling a special bond in operation and maintenance ad valorem tax election for the district, approving and authorizing execution and delivery of a district development, financing participation waiver and intergovernmental agreement, and approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of an intergovernmental agreement be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Yes?
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Gremmel,
Yes.
Board Member Evans,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, since we don't have any public hearings, we don't have any district manager's report, is that correct?
That is correct.
District director's report, district treasurer's report. I will adjourn this session. Okay, moving on. I'll call to the order the Apache Junction Superstition Vista Community Facilities District Number 2. Roll call.
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Present.
Board Member Evans,
Here?
Board Member Gremmel,
Here.
Board Member Nesser,
Here.
Board Member Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Joel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We're here now for the second district that's been created. This one's for Brookfield. And once again, this is a reimbursement mechanism for the infrastructure that's going to be built over the next, how many years? 60 years, whatever it is. Hopefully sooner than that. And our outside counsel, Zach Sakis, is here, and he is going to advise you on the resolution that needs to be voted on tonight.
Chairman, honorable board, congratulations. We've made it. You recall when we last met on October 5th, we formed Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 2. Tonight is the first step in the initial meeting of the board to approve several necessary steps to make the district operational, including appointing district officers, calling 2 elections, one for $400 million of general obligation bonding authority, and the second election for a 30-cent secondary property tax to pay operation and maintenance expenses of the district. And then fourth, to approve 2 agreements, a district development, financing participation waiver and intergovernmental agreement, and an intergovernmental agreement between Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District Number 1 and Number 2, the Water Utility District, and the Sewer District. Some of this may sound familiar from a meeting you recently had sitting as board for CFD number 1, but I'm happy to answer any questions. With respect to the bonding authority, is the same amount, and then of $400 million as requested in the application for formation of this district, and the secondary property tax levy amount of 30 cents per $100 of net assessed limited property value is also the same as for CFD number 1.
Well, yeah, I can say is deja vu.
I feel like we need to frame these agendas just for future history and just,
This
you
is
know,
historic.
say, hey, we were there.
All right, we have any questions?
No.
Okay, can I call for a motion to approve this resolution number 2021-001?
That would be me.
Okay,
I move that resolution number 2021-001 SVCFD number 2, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Superstition Vistas Community Facilities District number 2, appointing district officers, approving the general plan, taking certain other actions with regard to organization of the district, ordering and calling a special bond and operation and maintenance ad valorem tax election for the district, approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of a district development, financing participation, waiver and intergovernment agreement, and approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of an intergovernmental agreement be approved.
Second,
moved and seconded, roll call.
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Yes.
Board Member Nesser,
yes.
Board Member Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Gremmel,
Yes.
Board Member Evans,
Yes.
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, and we have no public hearing, no district manager's report, no district director's report, district treasurer's report, none. So I will adjourn this one as well. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations. It's historic.
I'm
You know, the
serious.
word I'm thinking about tonight is pioneer. You're a pioneer for our city.
I
and
think I'm going to frame that
you can-
agenda.
it-
I'm not
it's
even
a-
kidding.
It's historic, and it's also very, very, it's so awesome and meaningful. You'll be, it's just a record forever, so.
It's neat. It's very neat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fire.
Okay. Should we start with the water board meeting?
No audience to see it, dang it. We have the water board staff, yay.
I'd like to call to order the Apache Junction Water District meeting to order. Roll call,
Chairperson Wilson,
here.
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Present?
Board Member Evans,
Here?
Board Member Gremmel,
Here.
Board Member Nesser,
Present,
Board Member Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Agenda items, approval of meeting, or this is a meeting minutes and presentation, discussion, and consideration resolution. Okay,
No.
so get a little confused here. So we need to approve the meeting for minutes from September?
There are 3 sets of minutes if, yes.
Okay.
So the minutes of September 21st, special meeting of October 5th, and October 19th.
All right,
Chairperson, so moved?
seconded. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Board Member Evans,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rizzi,
Yes.
Board Member Nesser,
yes.
Board Member Gremmel,
Yes.
Board Member Schroeder.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, now it's presentation, discussion, consideration, resolution number 2021-11, an agreement to cost share for the feasible study of Bartlett Dam modification alternatives among the multi-partners of the Salt River Project, Agriculture Improvement and Power District. Mike.
Good evening, Chairman Wilson and members of the board. Just a quick update where we're at. We went over this a couple times. Salt River Project's working on a Bartlett Dam feasibility study to raise the dam for possibilities of additional water supplies for the valley here. We're one of the customers they're looking at helping finance part of this. So we're moving forward with a feasibility study. I came to you last time proposing that we would fund $250,000 per year. We went back to SRP and provided that input to them, and they came back and said we have enough money at this point in time, so we're only going to need to fund $100,000 each year, so we'll still be a voting member. But if some other entities drop out, it may go up in future years as we go through the process. The other good news that we've heard is the $1.2 trillion budget that was approved by the government. The other half of the funding mechanism for this study was approved with that, so this will be moving forward in the near future here. So I believe it is December 5th, they'll be looking to approve this to keep this project moving forward. So won't be stopping, so it's good news that we'll get this approved. I believe about 20 other cities are looking to approve the same agreement so that they can sign it also, so we keep the project moving forward. So again, this is a historic moment, getting additional water supplies here in Apache Junction also for future land development other than what we have auctioned off so far, our state land has. Does anybody have any questions on the agreement that we have?
Got any questions? No? All right. Do we have to have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that resolution number 2021-11, an agreement to share costs for the feasibility study of Bartlett Dam modification among multiple partners and Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Board Member Evans?
Yes.
Board Member Nesser?
Yes.
Board Member Schroeder?
Yes.
Board Member Gremmel?
Yes.
Vice Chair Rizzi?
Yes.
Chairperson Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. All right, district manager's report.
Your Honor, I want to go over one item that's connected to the Salt River project here. Last Thursday night, I had an opportunity to present in front of a community group regarding the state land. And probably the toughest question's a little tough for me because I know about this project, is where's all the water coming from? And so I did the best I can of explaining acre feet, 2,000 is what we use. We've been preparing with Gila River Indian Community, our allocation. We have 7,200 acre feet. So we have a big gap still where we have room to grow. It's like a varsity letterman jacket. We're in great shape now. Of course, then is, well, what about past the 4 square miles? And I'm gonna be able to, as we continue to move down this path, it's still really early, but this is public and we can share, we're working through the design. But Mike, this is still a 10-year, 5-year process to go through the Bureau of Reclamation, all the other national issues. But the day will come in the near future that Mike and I and all of us will have a chance to say, look, this is something we're working with SRP on. If this goes through, it'll become more and more. And it is public, and we can share a little bit. It's just, we're really early on. We're just barely starting our very first payment on the first of 3 years of design work. So that's hopeful, and being able to really answer the question of how we are dealing with water in terms of mass amount for our city. So that's my report. Just wanted to share a little bit of feeling like, oh, I really want to share this, but we're getting quite there because it's still 10 years out. Mm-hmm. But we can probably share in a summary way how we are planning for that growth.
Yes.
But is it important, though, to say that we're not part of the Pinal County
It is.
water, that's
Right,
a whole
people
different
hear
issue?
so much about is
Yeah.
about the Pinal active management area, the Pinal AMA. And I did share, like, we're part of the Phoenix AMA. It's a different, complete geological water distribution and collection system, I guess, from a bowl standpoint. And I think that helps too, to say that.
You know, Bryant, to your point, a lot of times if we don't understand something, that's where concerns can come from and grow if misinformation gets out. And so with that, it's always important, like you said, to just be open and communicate so that as we educate the community, they'll have a better understanding and less concern because they'll understand it better. Because that's where
Absolutely. So
it's
that's where
coming
we're going.
up a
So the
lot,
next big
the
time-
water.
Yeah, so we're saying next 3 to 7, 8 years, we've got water. Past that, these are the things we're doing to plan for that. So.
Yeah, as Brian's been saying, is the Water Board has done a great job of preparing for the future. 10 years ago, it was the Gila River Indian Community lease that we went after, and now it's coming to fruition that we need to use that water. You know, this is our next 10 years out that we're looking at now, and, you know, we probably won't see a drop of this water till at least 2030, 2035.
Yeah.
So, but it's planning for that future so that the city can grow.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question, not a question, just a comment with what Krista just said. And this kind of sounds lame, but so that it's all standard, is there any way you can give us a statement, so when people ask us a question, we give the correct information about the water issue.
Yes, and Mike, let's work on a paragraph that we can send in the weekly report, that you've got a simple statement that's kind of a 1 minute, but then a lot of times what I find is someone wants a 5-minute thing, and then they'll want a 50-minute, and we have all those layers we can provide. So we've done several online links that we've done videos before, right, Al? That we could send the whole thing as a package. So if someone wants to know just the tip, here's what we're doing for the next 5 years, here's what we're doing for the 10 years after that. But they want to know how that works, or in detail where the water really is coming from. We can show them the video that CAP and SRP that we've shown you that really show how the canals work, where the water comes from, how they interconnect, and the Verde and the salt connect with the CAP. Why don't we get some communication going, Al, on that, work with Mike? We can do that, yeah.
Because just last week, somebody asked me, and I told him to contact you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we can
Because I
explain that
said,
to 'em.
I'm not an expert on explaining in any detail, and I told him to contact you. But if we had just a little paragraph of the basic, when we get that basic question of, where's the water coming from, you know?
Yeah, we can put a little blurb together for you guys so you can
Yeah.
explain it to them.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
coming up a lot lately.
Okay. District Director's Report. Mike?
So, you guys may be aware, back on October 26th, we had a little pressure issue. Pressure in our system dropped out. It didn't go to zero. People still had water, but it was lower than what they normally seen out there at that point in time. We couldn't figure out what was going on. At first, we thought it was a main break, and we were going to have water coming up out of the ground, but we kept getting phone calls from customers just complaining about pressure issues. It took us less than 24 hours, but we figured out we had a location in our system where the distribution main, which is where the water comes to deliver to our customers, and our transmission line are tied together. The transmission line is where it comes from our treatment plant to our tanks. There's a valve that's normally closed between the two of them. Unfortunately, this valve failed. And this is a picture of the valve. This is a gate valve, so that's supposed to be a gate that slides up and down inside that. It's normally closed, and as you can see here, it blew out inside. So there was no leaks coming out of the ground. We didn't lose any water, but we were just losing pressures, and we couldn't figure it out. So we did figure it out the following day and did a repair, and everybody's back in pressure, but we did get several phone calls of low pressure in the system. They may have contacted you guys, the public may have, but we did put it on social media. Al helped me out on that. We did have it on our webpage explaining what was going on, but it took us just a little bit of time just to get that resolved, and I appreciate you guys' patience and not calling in. We were just working through those issues, and we did figure out what it was and fix that. So I just want to give you guys an update. If somebody asked you the question of what happened over that time period, that's what it was.
Something broke and they fixed it.
That's what I did. I said, it's getting fixed.
Do you guys have any questions on that, or want to go into any more detail? We can talk about it later. I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you guys heard about it or something was going on from the public, I just want to make sure you guys were aware of it. We did send out an email that day too. I believe I sent it to Brian. He sent it out to all the water board also.
Okay. Nothing else?
Nope, that's it, Your Honor.
Okay. District Treasurer's Report.
And do I have slides in there? Oops, wrong one.
I should go order
Okay.
coffee before me.
So this is our first fiscal year 22 quarterly report on the water system. It's just a month-to-date for this time last year and the year before, a comparison, and a fiscal year-to-date comparison as well. We've noticeably have higher expenditures than we have had in the past 2 years. Those are capital expenditures that were planned for. We also have noticeably higher revenue, and that is due to increasing development. Am I not on? Sorry. Did you hear everything, or should I? Okay, sorry. So I don't know if you had time to look at this at all, but I did break out the type of expenditures that we had that were unusual in nature. Was the NIA water purchase, and then the forklift, and then most of the other ones were just operating expenses, but this is why it's about $500,000 higher than it normally is at this time. Does anybody have any questions?
The bond payment and P&I, that's kind of like a certain planned time of year, just hits us right now, so.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the principal and interest.
And
Okay.
what is NIAWA?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's NIAWA?
I
Mike, yeah.
hate acronyms
That's
and
NIA water, so
things.
non-Indian agricultural water.
Oh, and
That's
that's
a-
what I assumed that, but you know what happens when we assume stuff?
So that's a one-time payment that we'll have each year for the next 5 years, I believe it is.
And we're still in court on that, by the way.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Still what?
For the non-Indian agricultural water, we had to go to court to pursuant to to make the payment, actually. We had to, and there was an agreement that said we had to make that a payment. But we had to get a superior court to say, this agreement is legitimate under the state laws of Arizona and the federal government. And there's, I forget how many, 13 other agencies that have done it. We're all together in superior court. And we've been having Zoom calls, sorry. And so with the court, in fact, I think we have one on Friday also, but it's going forward. But that's what enabled us to pay, because we had to go to court and get the court to say, yes, I bless this agreement. At one point, it'll be over. It has to be publicized, because someone can protest it, actually. They may not like the agreement, but so far, there's been no protests on the other agencies. And it's also different counties, too. And it has to be published. The actual agreement, the notice of the agreement has to be published in different counties and different papers. So we're still at that process. But it also allowed the payment. And there'll be other payments also. It's a 5-year agreement because we're paying interest on the amount of money that it costs. So, sorry, I interrupted your
No,
presentation.
Good question. Anything else? Okay, I
Thank you.
think that is it.
Okay, since there's no further discussion, I will adjourn the meeting.